Not being recognizable is why you're in algorithmic jail. Listen, I know your mommy told you that you're special and there's no one like you, but we gotta get real. It's just a fact. Everyone sees too many people on the internet each day as they're scrolling, and when you make a post, people a lot of the time are not gonna recognize you, and they need to see you and recognize you repeatedly to hit that follow button. The artists who get followed make themselves recognizable, and that doesn't necessarily mean going crazy looking like Tizo Touchdown or having some crazy tattoos. Find 3 points of recognizability you can repeat. It can be as simple as wearing the same hat, glasses, and a band shirt, and you'll get more followers. Are you taking perfectionism too far? Someone online discovered Lana Del Rey's cover for Henry Come On is just a screenshot from her Photos app. This proves what I see all the time working on projects. When I tell people major artists submit unpolished work like phone screenshots as final assets, they never believe me. Now we have proof. It happens even at Lana's level. Nobody noticed these details unless they're deliberately raising exposure in editing software looking for problems. We all stress about someone with fancy headphones catching that tiny mistake buried in our mixes, but most fans aren't listening to this, and I'm not saying to lower your art here, but what I am saying is, if you only have one copy and it has a tiny flaw that can be fixed, there's not going to be some internet sleuth probably looking for this. Just release it if it feels like a powerful image to you and has a tiny flaw that can be fixed. The artists blowing up right now all have one thing in common that you're ignoring. They're making themselves instantly recognizable, and most of you really don't do this. We're living in a world where there's more conformity than ever before. Everyone looks the same. So when you step out and show something distinctive, it's a lot easier for people to say, ooh, it's that person. Pick 3 consistent visual elements and stick with them religiously. Look at my setup. I have the same background every video, band shirt, same glasses, hat, tats. Summer has this recognizable haircut, skinny look, and always showing thirst angles of, well, all that neck anatomy he has going on. Raven Lene has that unmistakable hair, face, and distinctive style. When someone sees your content, they should know it's you instantly. As a musician, your story is a powerful tool for building a loyal fan base.
Jesse Cannon, music marketing strategist, explains how musicians go from 0 to millions of fans.
One of the things you don't realize is whether you're the vice president of America or the smallest, most unknown musician, you have to tell the story first, and then writers and journalists and your potential fans will start to tell that story to other people, and you can start to get it heard. We're no longer in that era where somebody's going to find you and ask you about your life, then pluck it out of obscurity and tell everybody about it. You need to make a short video that tells your story and pin it to your TikTok or Instagram, or make a longer one if it can't be told that way and put it as your YouTube trailer. The fact of the matter is, fans believe in you more if they start to know that you have a story worth rooting for. And you have to remember, in the For You page era, so many people are coming across artists looking to bond with them, and if you don't give them a story that they can bond with, well, then you might just be another person that they scroll on a few times. Musicians make huge mistakes with music videos because they don't get their purpose.
Jesse Cannon, music marketing strategist, explains how musicians go from 0 to millions of fans.
So many artists don't get the point of music videos. Here's the truth. A music video has a few purposes, but above everything else, it's to make more people excited about your song so they'll tell their friends to watch the video too. If your music video doesn't serve this purpose, you're wasting an opportunity to gain fans and wasting the effort and money you put into making it if you're putting a big budget into it and doing anything more than a minimum viable video. When making your video, the key question you always need to be asking yourself is, why would someone watching this want to tell someone else to watch this? The real reason your followers aren't streaming your song.
Jesse Cannon, music marketing strategist, explains how musicians go from 0 to millions of fans.
Music is a mood-altering drug, and your fans are looking for their next dose. Stop wasting time with listen now and out now. Your music has the power to transform emotions, but you're not showing fans what that transformation feels like. I work with artists across dozens of campaigns, and the strategy is clear. Tell people exactly what mood change they can expect. Promise them their next bedroom dance anthem or perfect soundtrack for a night to let out a good cry. You'll get way more streams once you tell people how they would feel a way they would rather be feeling when they listen to your song. The side of non-stop music promotion nobody talks about. When your music starts to suddenly hit, things can get overwhelming really fast. I've seen it more times than most people. A lot of artists worry that stepping away will kill their momentum, but I need to be clear about something. Taking a break to protect your mental health is not career unaliving. Back in the day, artists could pause for 6 months and recover, but with today's faster industry, you can pull back for 2 months if you really need to take some time off, and it's gonna not kill your momentum as much as you think. thing. Your growth will slow, but you won't lose every single thing you've built. I managed one of the first bands to cancel a tour for mental health reasons publicly, and the decision aged perfectly well. Their career went on and built just the same. Make sure you have an agreement with your team that anyone can call for a mental health break with no hard feelings if they need to, because honestly, everyone's mental health is a lot more important than a few thousand more followers for a few months.
I feel like there's gonna be like some up and coming artist who really needs to hear this. You have to have somebody next to you that can remind you of who you are. Because people who've been doing it longer than you will sometimes try to convince you that you don't know what you're talking about. And if you allow those voices even a little bit to get in the way, you can doubt yourself. And doubt breeds chaos.
The music industry is full of people who will try to force their taste on you instead of letting you develop your own voice. I see it all the time. When you're still finding yourself and haven't done the self-reflection work you'll need to do to not get knocked around like a ping pong ball doing all sorts of stupid things in this business, well, you got some work to do. This usually leads to bad decisions. But if you haven't done all that development and you're starting to get opportunities already and you're feeling insecure, I'll tell you the other hack you have, which is making a really good friend with someone else in your community who you can bounce ideas off of. My close musician friends have me, and I give them feedback on what they think. And honestly, in my work and when I'm having trouble with my career, I have made a lot of friends so that I can bounce ideas off them when I think I'm being bullshitted, since a lot of people bring me lots of opportunities that I should not take, and I need somebody to think that through. If you've got any momentum in your music career, you need to start developing these relationships yesterday. The most hate I've ever received is my take on album art, which is that it's the most unimportant part of your budget. Spending your budget on a single album cover art is pointless these days. When someone's discovering music through playlists, they're seeing your art at thumbnail size. Tiny. And all that money you spend on that when you probably weren't using the best mastering engineer or mixing engineer you could use. What matters isn't the expensive details. It's whether your art feels fresh and shows you're serious when you click through. Save your big budget art for albums that are going to be vinyl or merch. For singles, focus on art that reads well and is small and fits your vibe, or use a filter pack or color generators to create variations on pre-existing art. This is a huge mistake musicians make when assessing if their videos are flopping.
Jesse Cannon, music marketing strategist, explains how musicians go from 0 to millions of fans.
There's a big difference between being in algorithmic jail and just getting a few hundred or thousand views when you can often get more. Algorithmic jail means your content isn't reaching the right people at all. But once you're cooking and your videos are getting thousands of views on a regular basis, even if they're not doing as well as your big hits, they're often reaching the right audience. They just aren't going past that core group. When I'm in my members only feed reviewing artist TikToks, I definitely contribute to this culture by going, this one only got 18,000 views, while this one got 2 million. So I'm a little to blame here. But the real challenge is finding how your videos align with your art so you're excited to make them. I love what the marketer Coco Moco said. Videos seen by only a few people aren't flops. They're exclusive videos for specific followers. No matter what, when you're putting out those videos, you're doing brand reinforcement and building relationships with people you're rooting your branding by following the rules. The artist Poppy is an amazing example of my theory that contradictions are the conversation. Despite making extremely screamy heavy metal music, she presents herself with this bubblegum pop vibe videos and weird imagery that completely contradicts her sound. The key point here is if you talk to anyone who's just done marketing 101, they need everything to be in brand alignment. But if you actually study this stuff, if you make dark, heavy music that is really, really dark, that doesn't mean your imagery needs to match it. That contradiction can create a lot of conversation and get people talking. You could be a metal artist with girly pop imagery, or like Phoebe Bridgers, who makes depressing, sappy music, but is the most unserious person online ever. These contradictions become what people talk about. It's like, what the hell is going on? Why is she like this? That's how you build lore and positioning and stand out. Do you ruin your brand and respect as an artist making music tutorials? Creating tutorials is a great idea for artists. Just make sure they're based around your own music and authentic style. That's when they really take off. When I hear people say, you're never going to be respected as an artist, or you'll never have a substantial fan base if the narrative isn't something people respect, I point to John Summit. He has around 10 million monthly listeners right now. He headlines festivals every weekend and has even been in Spotify's top 500 artists. This is how he started. He made his first money selling sample packs from songs of people being impressed at what he did in tutorials.
And today I just want to show you how I made the bass line on my new track, Illusions.
Just make sure you're including your own music and not doing covers, because that's what really separates this from what is respectable and what is not. The reason most artists will never break through is they can't find their artistic voice.
Jesse Cannon, music marketing strategist, explains how musicians go from 0 to millions of fans.
Finding your voice as an artist is the most crucial part of the process. If you don't put in the work to develop it, you're never going to reach your goals. The only way to get there is through action. You don't just wake up one day and have a fully formed artistic identity. It takes years of trial and error. Doechii posted on YouTube for 10 years, documenting every step of her development, proving how long it takes to refine your craft, and she really even shows you how she did it. Most artists don't stick with it that long, which is why they never break through. You have to create, release, and experiment constantly, even when no one is watching. Most musicians are so focused on looking the part, they end up completely forgettable. But the ones who actually stand out are the ones who do the opposite. They highlight the parts of themselves that don't quite fit. That unexpected contrast, whether it's your background, your look, or your sound, it's what grabs attention. It breaks the pattern. And when someone breaks the pattern, people pause. They get curious, and they want to know more. The point is this: the thing that makes you feel out of place might be the exact thing that makes you unforgettable. Use it to your advantage. If your sound is biting off the hottest new it artists, you need to grow up and get some more influences. When you cite a current artist who's having their first big moment as your influence, that's some of the worst positioning you could possibly do. And one of the biggest artists coming up in music right now just got shamed on one of the biggest podcasts in the game for having a contemporary in their bio, and they had to change it. It was so sad. It makes you look like you haven't developed yourself much when you name the artists who are popping off right now as your biggest influences. Industry leaders and managers always notice this and think that you still need developing and need to grow up when they see this. And yeah, if you already have a hit, it still even gets you laughed at, just as what happened to this artist. If your song is good, you won't even have to promote it. Has to be one of the most bullshit statements about music promotion I hear. Yes, oftentimes good music will still find success despite mid or even pretty bad marketing. But this only happens when a song is one, really susceptible, and two, put in front of the right audience. If you have a banger and the likelihood someone is to like your song is very high, you still need to get it heard and put it in front of the right people, which can be challenging. In my recent members only feed, we dissected the band South Arcade, who have one of the most viral songs in heavy music talk right now, Danger. We learned that the song is actually a year old, and despite it being a banger, it took the band a while to find the audience for it to really take off and get heard more. The first random few hundred people you happen to know and hear your song are as often not likely the ones who are going to be the most engaged audience with your music. You need to be feeding the algorithm and interacting within your community and genre to get put in front of potential fans that are the type that are probably going to be enthusiastic towards you. Here's how to actually start building relationships with people in the music business. Most artists overthink networking. The truth is, building relationships with industry people isn't about flashy pitches or insider access. It's about showing up consistently and engaging with intent. If there's someone you want to connect with, start by finding them on Instagram or any of the short form text apps. Industry people post about shows, food, random opinions, or recommendations, and most of it gets ignored. If you're an artist who shows up regularly and comments with something insightful or personal, you stand out. This is the core of the community work I talk about all the time. Knowing who the players are and showing up in their orbit. If someone posts about the best burger in New York City, don't just like it, drop a real take if you know it one is great. This kind of input builds familiarity and friendships. I've developed a lot of friendships this way over the years. People start to recognize your name, and that's when DMs happen and real relationships begin. Laufey and Dua Lipa are growing loyal fan bases by building community around shared interests, not just music. Laufey runs a book club with its own Instagram, Discord, and Pinterest, giving fans a space to connect over reading. Whereas Dua Lipa does the same, pairing monthly book picks with author interviews and curated content that deepens her cultural presence. And this works because people are looking for connection. When an artist creates a space where fans can find others like them, whether it's through books, movies, or games, it builds a stronger bond than music alone. And you don't need a huge following to do it. Even 40 engaged fans at a book club or a movie night can become your most valuable advocates or spreading the word about you. They share, invite others in, and help share the world around your work. It doesn't take much, just one meaningful piece of content a month. Getting bad reviews from critics is a huge opportunity to flip the script. As somebody who's worked at a lot of media companies over the years that are really big, I know how much people hate media today, and responding to criticism by just calling people haters is pointless and gets you nowhere, but a smart, calculated response that critiques the reviewer's actual writing shows maturity and wins respect from from both fans and your peers. Take indie band Tennis, for example. When they dissected their Pitchfork review, they didn't just complain, they exposed how music critics often lack musical education. This approach works because it highlights a fundamental truth. Most reviewers aren't musicologists, but simply people who've read other reviews and frankly do what they do really badly. They'll claim your tempos lack diversity when they actually vary significantly, or say all the vocals fall flat when what they really mean is they just don't like the way the person sings. These people are not often craftsmen, and it's really easy to point this out because frankly, they're not putting in a lot of effort a lot of the time. The reason most musicians fail is they don't understand the reality of talent versus networking. Having great music is the #1 way to get fans as an artist, but so many musicians neglect the follow-up, consistently showing up where decisions are made. I tell musicians that if you're not putting time on your calendar each week to reach out to fellow musicians or people who should know about you in your microgenre, you're dropping the ball. Those 2 or 3 friends you make along the way are often the people who have a great attitude and are going places just like you when you do this. So send those emails to the people you feel most connected to that you find along the way as you're scrolling through the similar artists to you, because truly that is some of the most important time you can take to grow the awareness around what you do as a musician. What does your content as a musician say about you right now? Sure, artists can reinvent themselves, but in the short term, your content does define you, whether you like it or not. Too many musicians chase attention without thinking about what they're actually becoming known for. There is good music promo and bad music promo. Ask yourself, if what you're doing right now, like pranking people by posting a missing flyer outside their house, that's what they're gonna remember you for? That's not a good memory. Lately, we've seen artists doing wild stunts, things like setting themselves on fire, fake breakdowns, pushing shock value just to go viral. And sure, that may get views, but it's not for them as artists. It's remembering them as a gimmick and something to laugh at. That's not a good way to be remembered.